Okay, so it looks like I got a little behind on all of my updates that I've been doing for FireAlpaca, so I'm just starting over from a clean slate. My first video ever made really sucked, so hopefully I got a little bit better. Now I can actually screen record instead of just taking screenshots, and this time I have notes so I can organize my thought process. A little bit later I will have the times in the description of when is something in different sections. I did section this out. So without further ado, because this video is going to take forever and a day, here is what the program is, beginning to end. So yeah. First and foremost, my FireAlpaca always downloads to my desktop. Yes, you can delete your older FireAlpacas, so you can save room on your computer. It doesn't erase anything, at least it never has for me. So let's open up FireAlpaca. Okay, so you're going to get a box like this. Usually it'll be filled with an ad. There it is. Hit OK, exits out, doesn't take you anywhere. Then you're stuck with a gray screen. A lot of people have been coming to me asking me for this, so let's get rid of that gray screen. You're going to come up here to File, New, select New, and you get to choose your own image size. You can choose it from pixels, centimeters, or inches, or you can choose your predestined paper size. Any of these work. I personally don't use them too much. I mean, I do if I have to, otherwise I don't. The Dpi Dots per inch, you can have 350 or 600. Usually keep mine at the regular 350 because otherwise my computer crashes. Alright, so now we've got our beautiful little screen here. And thus we'll start our most wonderful, because I can write, no I can't, section 1, just so I can keep myself organized. These are the bare minimum basics. Yes, this video is going to be slow. Yes, this is going to be painful for everybody who knows this program basics. This is for everybody. From people who have just started drawing on digital. I know I didn't know what I was doing when I first started, so I want to help everybody who doesn't know. And I'll go through a lot of just what the program is. So if you're an advanced user, this video might be a little boring. Anyway, so section 1 is our basics. So it's pretty much our tools here. So you can see our drawing tool, our eraser, our dot tool, move tool. I forget what this one's called. Just pretty much it colors your entire, actually, who am I kidding? It's all here. It's a fill. Then you also have your bucket, your granite, select, magic wand, pen, select eraser, your text, your eyedropper, and your hand. Like I said, it's all right here under your tools. If you don't want to click any of these buttons over here, go ahead, click tool on your little drop-down list. You've got them all. You've even got your little shortcuts here, which I'll be going over eventually. So you're going through all of your tools. Well, they're pretty basic on what you do with them. Your drawing tool, you know, you can get your pen, or you can get your pencil, airbrush. Got 2 airbrushes. That was a malfunction from an earlier FireAlpaca that I never took off. You can get your watercolors, your blurs, which doesn't really work too well. Well, there's better ways to fix it. An eraser tool that doesn't work as well as the actual eraser does. A fingertip tool that's all sorts of fun and games to play with. And the rest of them are all downloaded or pre-created for other needs that I have in drawing. So that's pretty much your drawing tool right there. Your eraser tool, basic as anything, it erases. So you draw something and you want to erase it, except that's a little small. Yep, works better than the eraser that you'll read here. It really does. I'm not gonna lie. The eraser is also separate from the pen tool, so you can change the size of your eraser without worrying about changing any of the sizes on your pens. Even if you select a pen and then change the size on eraser, it will never, it doesn't change anything. Here's our dot tool. I personally don't use this tool all too much, if at all. Basically, I want to say it's more used for people who do pixels. This is a pixel tool, guys. It has hard edges. You can only go up to 3 pixels on this one. It's for icons. I personally don't use it too much. More power to you if you do. Another way to do pixels, if you're into that, we're going to come up here real fast, even though I'll be going over all this soon. Deselect that, you get a hard end instead of a soft brush edge. Your move tool is all sorts of fun. I'll be going over this a little bit later. Basically, you can draw an image, move it around your screen. Like, you want that circle somewhere else, oh, we'll just select it and move it. You don't even have to select it, it just moves the entire layer. Here's our fill tool. Sounds like what it is. You just fill stuff in. Change how much you want it to fill in. You can even give it a round corner, so you get that. Ellipse. Polygon, sorry. Yep, right click is just to get out of it. Double click to finish it. Not usually something I use. Here's the ellipse. Get circles. All that fun jazz. Bucket. It's a bucket. You click on something and it'll fill in what it sees. That's something different from a few programs. When I used GIMP a few years ago, if you had a bucket tool and you were using it on a layer, it would only register to that layer. It would not register to the entire image. And this one, on the other hand, if I draw that, the bucket will respond to the entire image, not just the layer, unless you're asking it just to respond to the layer, in which case it'll only respond to the layer, which is nice. You can also expand it by as many pixels as you need. I usually have it at 1 because I use the brush or the pen tool, and that has a soft end, and if you don't have it expand, you will get a white line in between your actual line and the color. It's helpful. Again, deselect that, you can get a harder edge than you can without it, or with it. Here's a fun tool, our little granite tool. Take it, and it's a fade. Gives you wonderful fades, works pretty well for shading, lots of fun to use. You can change the type. You can have it either as the foreground to background, so your foreground or your background, or you can just have it as the single color and have transparent. There's your second option. There's 2 shapes to this. There's linear and there is circular. Circular, you start at the center point of your circle and go out to where you want the main color to end. There you are. There's your circle. It doesn't make a giant circle from one end. It circles where you want it to circle. It'll just make circles. Our next tool is our selection tool. Same basic thing with our fill tool. All of this, except you get the option of lasso as well, where you can draw your own shapes. That one you just let go. You don't have to double click, you just let it go and it'll just go, okay, I'm connected. So same basic stuff, round corner, how much you want your round corner to be, so on and so forth. Magic wand tool, that one's a lot of fun. You say you draw something, fill in all of your gaps, you want to select everything around it. Oh, you selected everything around it. And I can't delete anything out there, but I can't draw in that either. I can delete. And I'm just being too lazy. So we have our magic wand, and then we have our lovely little drawing selector. This one will change with your pen, your pencil, your airbrush, so on and so forth. And it will follow the brush's rules. Every brush has its own rule. So let's go with the most solid brush that you can get, which is our pen brush. Here, let me draw something. Why is that so big? Yes, I usually draw hearts. They're the fastest thing to draw, and they decently look right. So anyway, your pen selection, you don't have to select the whole thing. I'm not going to do it. So, yay! Now you have this area selected. All this white area is your selected area. And I want to change it. And that's what you get. You can just select whatever you want and do whatever. You can also deselect with your eraser, which again, it follows your brushes. It will follow. So be warned, you do get a lot of stuff like that. Your text tool, pretty simple. I use it all the time. I make comics, I have to use it. My computer, I'm not sure if yours is the same, it will not have autocorrect or anything on it. You type what you want. So, there we go. Notice how it won't get the red line saying, "You spelled that wrong!" No, it just gives up. I have an Apple computer, so I have all of our basic Apple texts. If you have a different computer, I'm pretty sure it'll pick up on all of your texts. Size-wise, you can get up to 72, which is pretty big. I usually keep it at point instead of pixel. I just like it better. You can, again, make it all stiff and hard edges, pixely, if you want. Your text spacing, you can make everything super wide, like that, or you can get it down to the negatives to where it's really compact. Line spacing, that's usually for something like this, because I can type. So here's our line spacing right now. Again, up in numbers, the wider it'll be. Down in numbers, the closer it'll get. All this text, what you want to do with it, you can strike it. You can make it italic, which it already is. You can make it bold if it's not already bold. And you can center, left, or right align all of your texts. Just depends on who you are and what you want to do. Yes, it will count spaces. I'm not sure if this is a good thing or not. And also with brush script, you gotta watch out because it will cut off your letters. At least some of the texts will. So you play around with all of your texts. I'm probably not gonna have what you have, but it's all basically the same. The other thing is with text, it'll create its own layer. And as soon as you hit OK, it'll say whatever the first line of that layer was. Mine was FireAlpaca, now it's called FireAlpaca. These cannot be changed by anything that you do. You can't draw on them. You can't erase them. You can't do much of anything. You can move them. That's about it. So when you have the text, you just don't expect to move them too much. I'm just going to keep that there, actually. After that, you have your Eyedropper Tool. Well, you kind of get what it is. You drawn with a whole bunch of colors. You like one of them a lot more than you like the other. Oh, how did I get this first color? Well, it's the Eyedropper Tool. Click on it. You got your color. Again, this takes from any layer, anytime. So I'm on this bottom layer here. If I wanted that black, I could come up to that top layer there, and I'd grab the black without ever changing that bottom layer. The last thing is the moving tool. I don't use it too much. I usually use my navigation for this. But if you don't want to use navigation and you just want to move the thing around, usually works best for when I cover all of that. Yeah, you just move your little square around for fun. Okay, so that was the basics of all of that. I'm still in section 1, mind you. This is still all basics. So the next thing we're moving on to is our brush control, which you guys all saw me playing with, so I don't think I have to go over it too much. Here's your size. You can get all the way up to 500, all the way down to 1. Hey, look, you can see it. No, you can't. So that's really all it is. Your basic brushes are going to be the pen, the pencil, the airbrush. Again, I got 2. Your watercolor, your blur, your eraser, and you have to make your fingertip, but it is a brush that you have the option to make. So that's what you should have. Later on in the video, there will be an area to where, oh, I'm missing this. Don't worry, I'm going to cover it. The next thing we're going to cover is our color here. Oh, just as a pre-warning, your FireAlpaca will not look like mine. Mine has been rearranged, taken apart, put back together, so on and so forth, about a good 20 times since I've had it, because I keep messing up. So, I have a color bar. I prefer the bar, that's a personal preference of mine, but if you don't like the bar and you'd rather have a wheel, you go all the way up here to your top for color, and your color wheel. Yay, you got a color wheel. You got to change all of the sizes for that. You can make it big, you can make it small. This is why I work with the bar, because I don't like this space. I know I could move this down or move that up, but I just don't like that space. I like where everything is right now. So I work with the bar. Either way, you're getting the same colors. Doesn't really matter too much which one you use. So just do whatever you're comfortable with. Brush preview, not even going to go over that. It just looks like what your brush is going to look like. That's all it is. We're going to move over to the other side now for layers. You saw me messing with these again, so I'm not going to spend too much time on this. Pretty much your layers go with, oh, it's just your layers. You can draw on one layer, you can draw on a layer above with a different color, and, well, you're drawing above it. Your layers also have different options for blending. You can multiply it, which changes it every so much. Add, overlay, or that's screen, overlay, and then you already saw screen. Yeah, I'm working with a pen tablet, by the way, so please excuse my misclicks. And because it's on a different layer, you can also get rid of it and put it right back on. I usually keep it normal because I prefer messing with it like that. How you get new layers is this little new button here. This is on all of your stuff. Well, not really. You have it here and you have it here. If you're getting something new, you're going to have it. This is a multiply, so you can get 2 of your exact same layer. And I didn't even have to retype that. I didn't have to copy paste. I didn't have to go to this little text thing. And sadly, you still can't draw on it. Oh, that's the other thing. Your delete button. Worst comes to worst, you need to delete a layer. Something I'm missing is this merge layer. It's because I don't have anything drawn. Pretty much, you draw something on one layer, and you draw something on another layer. You want them put together, merge down. That's all it does. No, text layers cannot be merged, sadly. So there's all of that. Navigation, pretty basic. You zoom in with the little zoom in button. You zoom out with the little zoom out button. If you want your screen center snapped to fill whatever size you have, there it is. These are somewhat more advanced tools. I don't use them all too often, even though I should. It's your rotation tool. You can turn your stuff upside down, snap it back to normal. You can rotate it the other way. You can actually rotate it all the way around. You notice how that shuts off as soon as you get it all the way around. The other thing is this little flip tool. So you want to draw something that you can only draw on one side? Well, you got your flip tool for that. Funny thing with this whole thing, I want to move it this way, and you would think that you would want it to move the other way. Yeah, it mirrors when you do that. It's a mirror flip. It does the same thing when you do this. You have to be paying attention to your navigation versus your screen, otherwise you're confused. And that's again where this little move tool comes in handy, because this moves no matter what you want it to be. I want to move it up, I can move it up. I want to move it this way, I can move it that way. Rather than going, okay, so I want it to move this way. Yeah. So there are your bare minimum basics for knowing any of this. Palette, it's kind of there. I'm not going to go over it too much. Pretty much it's just I want a new color that I never want to forget. You can name them. All of these are for characters that I just don't want to constantly go find their references for, because I just don't like finding their references. They're ugly. It's a very basic thing. You can select a color even and delete it. I'm not going to delete it. I kind of like my colors. But you can get a new one with whatever color you have here. It's pretty basic. You can name it and everything. Okay. So, without further ado, once it loads, we have our section 2. I'm just going to move that up there. This is, again, a lot of the section stuff is so I can keep it organized and remember this is where I have to cut the video. Not cut it, but put a number where, yay, we got sections now. My video is slightly organized. So these are going to be a little bit more of like your advanced basics. Like, I just went over, here's pretty much what the program is for all of you new guys who've never drawn on a digital program before. Now you got some help. So, some more basics, a little bit more advanced basics. We have our snap tool, which you saw up here. I didn't go over it too much. Your snap tool, I usually have it off unless I'm drawing bricks. Thank God for snap. Your snap tool is very basic. You have, oh, it's not going to let me draw. You have your lines, you have your straight lines. No matter which way you go on that, I want to go down. You can't go down. You can only go left and right. Well, okay, I want to go down, but now I want to go left and right. No, you can't. Same basic thing with that. I'm going to go this way, and now I want to go every which way, but it only let me go those 2 ways. This one's a lot of fun. This one you get to play with. You get to decide where you want your lines to be. I'm not going to be all too creative with this one. It'll only go one direction, not the band. You can't go back. I can't, well, can't sort of. But pretty much you just make whatever lines you want. Yay. I made it basically like this one, which is our again, all the names are up here. Radial. I hardly use the lines, or the names for them in my head. So we have the parallels, the crisscross, the vanishing points. This is the radial. Radial can be moved on your screen. See that little black dot? I screwed up in this in my original Snap video because I didn't really understand Snap when I was using it. Now I do. So see that little black dot? Click that little black dot. You can move it anywhere you want. You can click and it'll stay. Yay! Radial is pretty much what I showed you with vanishing point. Just as annoying. It works though. You just got to get used to it. The next thing we have is our little circle. Again, little black dot. Circles make circles. Circle does have a glitch. You can make it jump. If you're not careful, yeah, you can make your circle jump. If you're going too fast, it'll jump. You have to go, with circle, you have to go slow. So if you want to draw a fast circle, good luck. Otherwise you can get it nice and slow and steady and yay. Make the circle pretty small too, depending on what size your brush is. There we go. See? Here's your circle. Here is the one that I find probably the most annoying. And it's a free snap. You make it whatever thing you want it to make it. I find annoyance with it. And you can make as many dots as you want too. I mean, go ahead, have fun with this. If you ever use it, more power to you. I find almost no point to this. But here we go, that's our snap. But wait, you want it to end, don't you? Right click is the undo. Sorry. Double click. I'm sorry. Right click ends some things and sometimes it doesn't. And the funny thing with this snap is you can move it by itself. You can even change its size. Change. And again, this is going to have the glitch that the circle did, where if you move too fast around it, it'll jump. It wants to jump. I know it does. Oh. But yeah, you can get it to jump if you want it to jump. And when you're done with this and you don't want it to see it, you don't want to see it anymore, you can even flip it. You can even do that. You can rotate it to whichever way you want. But if you're sick and tired of seeing it, X. And you're done. Granted, you just click back on it and it's right there again, but otherwise you click that little off button up in that corner and you have no more snap anywhere and you can draw however you'd like again. Please remember to turn off snap. That is something I have not always remembered to do. Like I said, I'd be going over this here. This is a section 2 thing because it's pretty basic. Pretty much what that does, I'm going to zoom in so you can all see it. So here's our lovely regular brush. Yay, regular brush. Notice how it kind of tapers off at the end here. You can see some of the transparencies. And that is where it looks softer. When you take off that little thing, because I don't know how to say it, now they look pretty similar, but that's because it's so big. When you zoom in, notice how all the edges are really hard. Again, this is a lot for pixel work. So if I zoom out a little bit, you can see the difference. This one's soft, that one is not. They look pretty similar when you're zoomed all the way out, but they're really not that similar. You can do that with pretty much all of your brushes. It's just weird. It really works best for pen, so I keep it on. I prefer having it look soft rather than making it look like a pixel. I'm just not a pixel person. I love how the art looks, I just can't do it myself. The next thing we're going to cover is this little correction tool. This is a lot of fun, for the most part. So 0, I kept it at 0 for so long and I thought I was doing great. But yeah, here's my circle in 0 correction. Here's my circle at 19. It looks better. So depending on how high your correction is, depends on how decent you can look. And I have a decently steady hand while drawing. I mean, I don't sit there shaking like that, but yeah. No. Yeah, that's the other problem with this thing. You can just move it. I mean, there are my straight lines in 0. I mean, it works better if you do have a bit more of a shaky hand. I keep it at 19 because some days I'm half asleep and drawing because I can. Yay me. I'm not very smart, am I? And the next thing we're going to cover is our soft edge. Notice how you can't select it. You can't select it at all. Not in any of the brushes. I'm going to move it. There we go. But you can select it in your eraser. It is an eraser thing. So when you have soft edge on, notice how the edges blur. So yay, your edges are all blurred and everything. And now they're not. And again, that thing works too. But if you want, like you're drawing something, say with your watercolor, it doesn't work very well for watercolor actually. But you kind of want to keep the softer edge, but you got to erase something. You turn on the soft edge, and you have it more like what your watercolor will look like. It's not perfect, but it's decent. Otherwise, I'm going to put this out there just because it is another pretty basic thing, and I forgot to write it down. This is your best friend. Say you're drawing with something and you want to keep all of its, whatever it is, your, oh my gosh, I can't think. Just how it looks, how it feels, what the brush reacts as. Well, like watercolor will blend into other brushes. You select that little transparent tool, and that's how you erase with watercolor. See, it looks better than it does with the soft edge eraser. I still use the eraser a lot of times for pen because I don't use the same size for the pen as I'll use for the eraser. But for watercolor and stuff, oh yeah, this transparent tool is my best friend. It also works for any brush that you've downloaded. Yes, I have a lot of brushes. I will admit, I am a brush addict. I absolutely love brushes that I make, brushes that I find. So yeah, they all work. They're all wonderful. Some of them that I make, like that, I can erase with the tool. Lots of fun. I'll go over how to get brushes later. Oh, actually, I'm almost forgetting one thing, which is over here in our layers again. So say you got a whole mess of layers and you don't want to see them all. Actually, I'm going to open something. Where are you? There you are. You've got too many layers. Once it opens. Oh, you stupid thing. There it is. So it doesn't look... Yes, it does. It looks like I have too many layers. It's because I didn't want to continuously use everything. But here is every single layer that I have. And granted, both of these, they were about 4 layers each. I had to combine them all with our lovely little combination tool. What is this madness? This is too many layers and I didn't name them all because I am not too smart at anything that I do. Well, my friends, those are folders, aka my new best friend. Folders are, you keep all of your layers in them. So say I want to get rid of that and I just want to hold it in a folder with that one and that one. I went from 3 layers, yes, click on the folder to close it, down to 1. But I still have all 3 layers, I can still draw on them and mess with them. And if I want to get rid of all of the layers all at once, there. They're all gone, but they're all still there. It's transparent. It's gone. No, it isn't. To change the name of the folder, double click and change it to whatever. My folders continuously count, so I always have to name them unless I feel like I can totally control them and I know exactly what's going in what folder until I have 20 of them and then I'm sitting there going, You can layer folders as well though. So you have that folder and say you're drawing a person and then your person ends up getting too many layers in the one folder. Well, you can just add in another folder. Look, you got another folder. You can even make it all oh, where'd you go? Why aren't you working? Oh. You can make it all fun and transparent, like that. Close your folder. I don't want to see it anymore. I don't want to see that. Yeah. So anyway, those are the folder options. They're lots of fun. I love using them. I love that FireAlpaca installed them. I didn't actually have this chance with GIMP. I'm not sure if GIMP had updated to the point to where I could get them, but I never had them, and it was kind of sad. The one thing with folders is these things don't entirely work. Lock works. Lock works really well. You just can't draw anything with the lock. Clipping doesn't work. Clipping means, you kind of saw it in the image that I pulled up. I didn't want to keep it up too long. Pretty much you drew something on one layer. Let's get our pen out. You're drawing something on that layer, and then you drew something on this layer, and say this was your shading. You don't want your shading outside your lines, and you don't exactly want to go through with an eraser or the magic wand tool or anything like that. You go to the layer that you have there, you clip it. It just stays there. You can also protect the alpha to where you can't draw on anything but that layer. And you can lock it to where you just can't do anything with the layer at all, except take these off. So yeah, that is basically what it does for clipping. It doesn't do that in the folders too well, if at all. I don't use it for the folders, I just use it for the layers. It works. But anyway, that ends our section 2 samples. Now we're getting into the more fun stuff that we all love. Because I can't type or spell or anything at this point, actually. So now we're on to section 3. Section 3 is I'm missing something, or I want something, or so on and so forth, fun stuff like that. So let's start with just straight up missing brushes. This is a huge thing with FireAlpaca. It's only 3 years old. It's going to have glitches. It's going to have bugs. The one thing people always come to me, everybody actually, about is I am missing. Yeah, I want to delete my watercolor brush. Where'd it go? I don't have a watercolor brush. I'm going to keep that. That took me too long. How do I get it back? It's actually not too hard. You come here to our little new button, and you have your wonderful little edit brush. Starts out with pen. You can go watercolor, and you pull down this little type thing. So type, it says pen. I wanted watercolor. Oh, there you go. There's your watercolor. But that's not right. Watercolor doesn't look like that. Soft edge. Load of color versus how easily you can mix the colors. I keep it at basics because I'm lazy. You can change how big you want it when you start out. You can have it at 80 pixels. Minimum width, meaning when you end it here, it'll only be 40 because it's at 50%. You can make it super small, or you can just make it a big round brush. Doesn't matter. This is something I change all the time. This is also with just making a... Excuse me. This is also with just making a brush in general. Size, by pressure, how clear, or how transparent do you want it as you're drawing, all that fun stuff. That's how you make your watercolor brush. That's how it comes back if you deleted it, or if you just didn't get it when you started. Like I said, they don't have the fingertip brush when you first download. You have to go through and make it. Oh, look, you have a fingertip brush. Okay. And now that you've hit OK, where'd your brush go? At least that's what I have to ask. My brush is all the way down at the bottom. Your brush will always be added down at the bottom. And to move it up, not too bad. You have to right-click and move it. And because I have so many brushes, it just takes me forever and a day to move it. And no, I'm not deleting any of these. I use them sometimes. And we're finally back up where it needs to be. Close enough. I can see it. Your blur tool, you can double click on brushes, by the way, if you need to change it. You can change how intense you want your blur versus how not intense. It's not the best tool to use. I'll be going over how to use something better, but it's good for, oh, I just want to make something slightly more blurry. I need it just a little bit, oh, where'd you go? A little bit more blurry than it is right now. It's blurred. Yay. So that's the I am missing a brush, help. It works, don't worry. I didn't know how to do that for about the first 3 weeks. And then I just started messing around because I ended up deleting half of my brushes. The next thing we're going to be doing is new downloaded brushes. Before I open anything, I'm going to go to DA. Actually, I have my little thing right down here. And I'm going to credit somebody who's made quite a few really great brushes. This person right here, Coco Bunny, they make a lot of brushes. They have a few packs that are out that I personally can't make. I have a few brushes out as well. You saw the scales that I make. It's all going to be in the FireAlpaca DeviantArt group. Go there, go to resources and brushes. You get textures, you get brushes, you get everything. One thing with brushes, when you get packs like this, especially if you get packs like this, download button. Just download the whole thing. Download the zip file. It won't all go to your FireAlpaca. Trust me, it takes forever and a day to get to your FireAlpaca. But you get all of these lovely little brushes. What I'm going to be using is this Monarch brush right here. This is one brush that I actually do not have, surprisingly enough. I'm probably going to delete it too. I'm sorry, I just don't have a use for it. So anyway, now that we have that, I've pre-downloaded the brush pack. It's on my desktop. I'm not going to move my desktop. I have pictures on there and I'm not sure which one it is. So we're going to come over here to our brushes. Yay, all of our brushes. And you're going to click this one with the little square in it. I don't know, it works. It's a new brush that you've downloaded. Brushes only work as a .png file. So I'm going to open my freebie pack, because it's a freebie pack. And, oh, look, she's even got all of hers in a beautiful little folder thing. So I don't know how they've set up the settings. Usually what I do is I just have the straight up brushes. It's here, have fun with whatever you want to set them as. Somebody else has them as something else. Better for them. I mean, everybody's going to have a different way of setting these up. It's just nice. So it's an original butterfly scatter setting. That's what I'm opening. What did you do? Okay, hold on. Okay, this worked. I swear it did. Okay. There we go. Yeah, sorry about that. That was weird. My computer's never done that. Oh well. So, the second that you open your brush, you're gonna get a brush. It's gonna look like this. Except with whatever it looks like. And you can space your brush. If you have something like that, you want it spaced as far apart as you can, so set it at 100. You can change your width. Again, you can change your minimum width. You can make it all the way down to 1, all the way up to however big you want it. You can make it how transparent you want it by pressure. You can make it rotate with you. You can make it unrotate with you. Heck, you can put it at random rotate. It's all fun. For the butterfly, though, because it's just the straight up texture, they made it black. So no matter what, applying foreground color or not, some brushes are going to have predestined colors. And I did do it. So my predestined colors, I was photo manipulating, and I needed cutie marks. So I got Fluttershy's. So this has a predestined color. Yep, it's pink and blue. Yay for that. So while you're doing that, again, you can name your brush. You can tell me what kind of brush, your size, if you want it transparent or not, rotate or random rotate. What I was trying to show you was this apply foreground color. Big thing with the brushes. If it is not black, it's gonna turn out to be transparent. This is a light pink and a light blue. It's gonna turn out to be transparent. You can see the grid through the background here. Oh, want it bigger. Oh well. My computer's malfunctioning today. Anyway, you can see the grid through the picture. So I don't want to apply foreground color. Yay, I get pink and blue butterflies! The other thing you can do, and sometimes you can get somebody saying, please use this as a scatter rather than a bitmap. Bitmap, it's just what it is. It's the brush over and over and over again in the same basic area. What you can change it to is a scatter. Scatter, again, you can unapply the foreground color. You can change color jitters, and your hue jitters. It's not going to show you in the previews what it does. The only time it really does change is when you don't have your foreground color applied. Otherwise, your color jitters just don't change. This changes how much your color will change throughout the duration of your drawing. You can rotate your particle, or they can all be upright. Your particle random, higher it is, the more small to big you're going to get. The lower it is, the more one size. Actually, it's all one size at 0. Your particle size. How big do you want this? Do you want it giant? Okay, let's have it giant. With a lot of random. Can't really tell. And your scatter strength. This one's fun. Higher your strength, more you get. Lower your strength, prettier, if you ask me. And again, you can do the size by pressure, or you cannot. You can do the opaque or the transparency by pressure, or you cannot. Your minimum width, you can make it super small, you can make that super big. Yay, it all works. The other thing you can do is a scatter watercolor. This one you do not get the option of keeping your original colors, but it acts like the watercolor brush to where it'll blend. So let's go back, let's get a brush from our beautiful freebie pack. Again, it's just, I don't know what it's doing. There we go, rose. I just wanted to have you guys see what I was doing. So yay, you have your beautiful settings. No, up. You can do whatever you want with these settings. You can make it a bitmap. You can make it a scatter. I always put my scatter strength down super low because I can. I'm going to mess with the color and the hue, and I'm going to put those up too high. And now you have your new beautiful brush. So now that you have your brush, I'm going to make it big because I have a big thing. That's what the hue and the jitter will do. It makes it beautiful, if you're looking for that. So again, it just kind of depends on what you want to do with your brushes. That's how you get the new ones. There's just a lot of ways you can do that. The other thing I'm going to go over of, oh god, it's missing! It's all missing. Oh, everything's missing on that side. And everything's missing on... This is how I've screwed up my FireAlpaca, guys. So it's all gone missing. You've got nothing. You've got a pen tool, and you can't even choose your color. Oh, what a world, what a world. You can't even right-click on anything. How do you get it all back? Again, this one took me a while to figure out, but I figured it out. Actually, I figured this one out on GIMP when I was originally using it. I lost everything at one point, and I was just devastated. But it's easy enough to get back. Window. So, I want my color back. Oh, I have my color back. And I want my palette. My palette's going to show up on that side because that's where it last was. If it is where it last was, that's where it's going to show up. I want my brush preview. I want everything, and you have to go through and click it one by one. And you're going to watch me painstakingly do this. And your layers. Where it was is where it was. It'll always open back up to where it was, I think, unless you've closed out of it, in which case it might not. In which case, it might open like this. This is actually where I've gotten screwed up. I'll pull these out, and I don't like it. I really don't. So what you have to do is you have to grab it, and you have to cleverly put it back. And by cleverly, I mean don't kill yourself, because yes, you can combine them. Yes, it's as annoying as it looks. But luckily, you just have to pull one, and it's pulled off. Yay. I don't like where that is. I want it back. Down at the bottom. And yeah, this is where I get screwed up, guys. So that's that. That is our beautiful... I'm missing someone help. Yeah, don't worry. I was confused for the longest time as well. And now I'm going to go over our section 4. Which probably isn't smart of me to just keep deleting and typing because, I mean, you can double click, change how you want it. It works. You can change colors and everything. I'm just weird. Anyway, section 4. Section 4. I'm just going to go across these because these are underappreciated, wonderful buttons. We're going to start out with File. All the way here. This is how you get your new page. I went over that when we first started. File New. Yay, you can even get it new from your clipboard if you don't have text. You can open an old file. You saw me do this with my picture. You can save and save as. Hit save for an original image for your first time. It'll save as. If you want to change it to how you're gonna save, like what kind of file you're gonna save it as, that's a save as. This is not something I use at all. Don't ask me what it is. Don't ask me what it does. This is for people way above and beyond what I can ever do. Find somebody else. It's so lucky I'm not being filmed right now. My hands are everywhere. Anyway, the other thing is with File is our environment setting. And yeah, environment setting's pretty fun. You can change how much you want to rotate your image per click here. There are a few shortcuts. Again, go to the FireAlpaca group, tips and tutorials. A lot of these shortcuts will not work on a Mac. At least this one doesn't. You cannot smooth zoom on a Mac. You can do it on Windows though. So if you have Windows, do it. I envy you. I envy you greatly. By a lot. Anyway, brush coordinates. I cannot tell you how many people have come to me asking about tablets. I don't know about tablets. My tablet is about 8 years old. I plugged it in and it worked. That's really all I was asking for. I'm just surprised that I can hit one corner and it goes to a corner. Ah! Anyway, so you want to use brush coordinates or you want to use mouse coordinates? I use tablet. It's recommended. It works best. This entire thing is put in standard mode. That is the basic. I mean, that is bare minimum basics. That is, here is what the program is. I am not well versed enough in the other mode, which is our professional mode, which gives you a few more buttons over here, everywhere. You can do stuff with it. I'm not well versed in it yet. As soon as I am, I'll put up an A to Z tutorial on professional mode and what I missed in this one. Until then, I'm not going to even try to show you guys what it does. I don't really understand it yet myself. I'm playing with it, but for now, we're sticking standard. And it always opens as standard for me too. Right button, right click. Right click does a lot in this program. It's wonderful. Right click button, you can have an eraser or an eyedropper. I really don't use my right click button. Again, I have a little tablet pen, about 8 years old. Good luck getting a right click in that. I don't like it. I have an eraser on one end of my tablet pen, which is all I really ever needed. So I can quite honestly just turn my brush around and it'll have an eraser versus a pen. And yeah, otherwise, if you're using a mouse, this is super useful though. Right button will get you the eraser versus your eyedropper. Eyedropper is actually the new one. FireAlpaca just came out with, oh, right click and you can get an eyedropper. And it works. It works out really, really well, actually. It doesn't matter to me which one mine's on. If I want it, good for me. Look, you can get your eyedropper. No, I didn't want to do that. But yeah, that's all it does. It's pretty useful. You flash back to your original tool. It's kind of nice. Okay, so we're done with file. Woo! Next is edit. You have your undo button, you have your redo button, cut, copy, paste, all of your shortcuts to the, all of your shortcuts. Should probably stop. Crop usually works better when you're not on a screen that has only text. Yep. Rotating. This rotates your entire image as it does here. So I want to rotate it left. It'll rotate. It'll rotate all of your layers. Except these things. There's my undo button. Yeah, it'll just pretty much screw with your image. I don't have anything drawn so you can't see it flipping ever which way. The other thing is on edit, image size versus canvas size. Big difference. Image size. So you can keep your same proportions. So, oh, is that 3,000? Oh, let's make it 34, and that's what it'll change to for height. I'm not going to change the DPI. I don't want to make my computer explode. Constrained proportions, you know, it's on and off, doesn't matter. That's all it does. It just makes it bigger or smaller. And it does make a difference when you are drawing. No, I want to draw. So here's my beautiful drawing, guys. There we go. Image size, and let's put it back down to 3,000. Because for whatever reason, it just wants to change like that. Yeah. It changed. It doesn't change the writing, it changes the size of what you've drawn. So yeah, that's always fun. And canvas size is vastly different. Where do you want your canvas to grow from? Or stay stationary, or how do you want it to move? You want it to move this way? Oh, okay, so let's change our width then. Let's change it to 36. And notice how it doesn't change that. 23. So you can see where my little red lines are on where it wants to change it to. So you can see where it wants to change. And this is changed from the center. This is top center, so it'll go down. Bottom center will go up. Left, bottom left, top left, right. Okay, I'm happy with my decisions on how big I want my new image. Because I needed this space over here to obviously move this thing. Didn't I? Yeah, I need that over there. So that is how you change from edit your canvas size versus your image size. Image will change this, canvas will change the rest of it. Next, we're going to move on to layers. All of your buttons are right here, guys. The only thing that changes is this. And I'm going to show you that. So like I said, all of your options for most of it is right here. The only thing that changes is right here. This is, I think I play with this more than I play with my actual drawings. Levels. How dark, how light do you want your image? I can make it super white, or I can make it super dark. Light. Levels are fun. I do that more often than not. Hue. What color do you want it? I don't like it blue. Let's make it green. Let's make it like super bright, vibrant green. Woo. It hurts. Next. Gaussian Blur. This is where I'm saying the blur tool sucks. It works for something small. It really does. But if you want something consistent, here's your tool. It doesn't have a shortcut, sadly. You can't really see it right now, but that's at a value of 1 for blurring. You put it all the way up at 64. It works. It works beautifully. It works wonderfully. Because I know my computer's screaming at me for space reasons, I'm not going to save it. Yes, Gaussian Blur is wonderful. Mosaic. Mosaic's fun. You ever see those pictures with like the big pixels in the background? I like that, and I'm still having fun with it. Mosaic's fun. You can change it to make it look like however you want. I forget where the limits are. It does have limits. Be warned. It makes it super soft, like your pixels just grow supersized, and they're wonderful and amazing. The last thing is this little extracting lines thing. You can still see our blue around there, but where the base color is what's going to change. So I can make it black with a bluish outline. You can barely see it. I don't use that one too much. Okay, next up is our selection tools. Here's where it gets fun. This doesn't really have anything that you have over here. This lets you do whatever you want. So I'm going to magically select this, because it's on referencing the canvas rather than layers. Oh, phone. But yeah, so your layer, I'm referencing canvas, so yay for that. Selection! You can expand your selection. You want something around it. Sure. Here's your, oh wait, I want it that's smaller. And let's make it smaller. Extra smaller. And there you have it. You got even your little thing around the outside. See? Create selection from the layer and how bright it, or that's bright it is, but how much you can see it versus how much you can't. So that is totally opaque. That is opaque, opaque, opaque. This will not be opaque, opaque, opaque. So you're going to select by that. You're going to select the whole thing. It's a lot of fun. So while it'll come all the way down here, it'll do that with your magic wand tool as well. But yeah, while it'll come all the way down there, it'll make it a very harsh edge because it's selecting every little bit of color. The other thing you can do is select by how bright it is, which means you're going to get a little bit extra. They're a little bit different. It works better for colors of different sorts and everything. They're slightly, ever so slightly different. Still fun to mess with. Oh, where's my selection stuff? The other thing you can do is transform and draw a selection border. I'm on the wrong one. So let's transform. I did a slight thing on this. I love transforming. It saved my life too many times. Make it bigger. Make it smaller, make it longer, make it taller, flash it back to what it originally was. Yeah, that's the one thing I've noticed. If you grab a corner, it'll just switch. You can rotate. Oh, I want it upside down now. And it will always come on top of your layers, no matter what. It's just showing you what you're messing with. Make it super small, I can make it super big, so on and so forth. The other thing you can do, always read these. I don't care how annoying they get. Always read them. Free transform. That's going to be fun. For me, it's the command key. What you're going to do is you're going to hit Control or Command, and you're only going to get the option of these corners. But you can bend your entire drawing. No, I don't want to rotate. Bad. You can make it look like it's on something. Just always fun. You have to hit OK or Enter. Always hit OK or Enter. Otherwise you'll lose everything that you ever did. One thing with transform, it'll always happen, you get blurry. Very blurry. There's no way around it. You changed it, it's gonna blur. Oops. It works best for sketches, if you ask me, unless you're really willing to go through and fix everything on your actual drawing. It works best for sketches. Snap tool. We've gone over all of this except save snap, which is, yeah, you make one of these little curve things. You say, oh, I like that a lot. I'm going to save it. Okay, it's now saved. Every time you update it, you will lose your snaps. Warning. I had 4, actually, and they're gone now. I've lost all my snaps. Color! Really basic. Color bar versus color wheel. You can swap what you want it to be. You can just make it back to regular. Yeah, color. Here are your shortcuts, X and D. Be careful. Your view! Zoom in, zoom out. Fit to window size. Rotate left. Release the rotate. Rotate right. Flip it. This is the only thing that is different. You can make it a grid, so you can draw off a grid. You don't actually get stuck on the grid. You can even see how big your brush is. Oh, look at my beautiful brush. I personally don't have that on. Next thing, your tools. I've gone over your tools. This is just a shortcut if you don't want to hit any of these buttons. Window? What do you want to see? Oh, look at all that. That'll set it back to regular and I ain't gonna hit that. So there we are. There's section 4. Section 5. I was gonna go over shortcuts, but this video is getting so long. I'm going to take a shortcut and not go over shortcuts. Everything is either written out here or, again, tutorials, tips and tutorials in the DeviantArt stuff. Go through those. Those are fantastically explained, better than what I could ever do on this video. The only really thing that I have left is saving. Yeah. So after all of this, after you've drawn your magnificent image, I mean, look, oh, I should probably change that, shouldn't I? I'm just going to get rid of it. No! That's what happens. Anyway, so you're finally done with your image. Look at how beautiful it is. Isn't it just the most wonderful thing you've ever seen? Yeah. Save! You can save it to however you want. You can save it as anything you want, including a Photoshop. You cannot open it once it's saved as a Photoshop, but you can save it as a Photoshop. You can save it as anywhere that you want it to be saved. I'm saving it to the desktop because it's easier. MPD, or MDP, is your regular, here's how it's saved. Here is a FireAlpaca package. It can only be used by FireAlpaca. Unlike GIMP, FireAlpaca can't open anything and everything. I'm not sure if GIMP can open FireAlpaca yet. But yeah, I can only open FireAlpaca images and basic images. So, okay, now that that's saved, I want to save it as... Oh, let's see what I can save it as. A JPEG, a bitmap, Photoshop, or PNG. .png is the only one that you really get problems for. I always save as this. It has the highest quality, if you ask me. I don't save as JPEGs. I always get pixels and everything. So, PNG! Let's save it as that, because you have to hit Save As. Save it as this. Uh-oh, your layers cannot be saved in this format. Do you want to proceed? Always proceed. You want to save it as a transparent, because if you do this, that entire thing back here, it's going to be white. If you're looking for a transparent image, there. That's all it is. You hit OK, and it's saved, and that is the end of this video. It's over. This is your basic to basic. This is for everybody new or everybody who didn't understand a brush or anything along those lines. If you have any other questions that you think a lot of people are going to have, ask them in the comments. I've been having a lot of problems with comments recently. I probably won't be able to respond to your comment. Worst comes to worst, if you have a super important question, I have a DeviantArt that you can get me, that you can just hit me up at. I have a Facebook page. Go ahead and message me there. I should be getting messages on there. I don't know what's been going on with my Facebook recently, but oh well. It's a like page. It's not like a friend page. So I have my DA. I have my Facebook. Message me on there if you have a desperate question. Any questions asked in the comments or over note or over anything that you have contacted me by, I will gladly put in the description, and there we are. It'll be answered in the description to the best of my ability. I might link out to a few things, so on and so forth. In the description, there are also going to be all sorts of links, like here's where all the brushes that I found are. Here is my DeviantArt page. Here's the FireAlpaca group. Here is the FireAlpaca English web page. Find everything here. Other than that, yeah. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope I didn't go too fast for anybody. And have fun drawing.